Hello, everybody. Russ and West End Network. Hope you're all safe and well. Happy Monday. It's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Check out the forum. Check out the summer transfer thread on the forum. And East Village Hammer, who's usually quite reliable with his information, has been on there, and it's created a bit of a storm. So go and check that out. We mentioned it actually, the Hammers Headlines. In that sort of bit in our lunchtime show this afternoon rather. Right, so let's talk outgoing, shall we? Because it does seem at the moment that there's more people leaving there are coming in. Now, obviously, we know about Gianluca Scamacca impending move to Atalanta by all accounts. That's happening imminently. Another player who is going to be leaving imminently is Nikola Vlasic. Now, apparently, the deal has finally been done with Torino, and this whole ordeal with Nikola Vlasic can finally be put to bed. It's been a long-running saga, and apparently over Sunday night it reached a conclusion. We know that obviously he broke his silence, lambasting West Ham for demanding too much money for him, although by the sounds of it, they're going to have made £3 million less than they had in the original loan agreement. So there we go. So apparently the deal has been agreed at around £8 million plus £2 million in achievable add-ons. The player's already agreed personal terms. We know he wants to go to stay in Torino on a 4-year deal until 2027. All in, the deal, as I said, is worth around £3 million less than the original option to buy Vlasic in his loan agreement, so which that expired at the start of July. So, and it's like with some of the other players who are leaving, the likes of Scamacca, Cresswell, replacements will be brought in, I think, but we haven't had Vlasic for over a season, so I think that's just signed off. Let's just get him out. Get him out now. Get it done now. It's just a shame. It's just, again, another one of our failed forward signings. We went for a whole list of them on the weekend. I think it's 51, something like that now, particularly with Scamacca leaving as well. We've signed 51 forward players since 2010. And yeah, it doesn't mean it's not a great roll call when you go through the players we've bought. But anyway, apparently, so the impending sale of Vlasic and Scamacca and potentially Cresswell will apparently, he says, mean quite a busy time for the next 3.5 weeks, something like that, left of the transfer window. Now, several reports have stated that West Ham are expecting a busy last few weeks of the transfer window. I mean, the window itself, actually, and I never understand why it's a window, not a door, because windows don't slam shut, but the doors slam shut. Anyway, regardless of that, it's basically, I mean, the window opened in mid-June, and so we've had something like 7 weeks, over 7 and a bit weeks, over 50 days to sign anyone. And obviously, famously, we know that we have not signed a senior player yet. We're the only Premier League side to have not done so. Although hopefully that will change imminently. We reported early this morning that Sky Sports Germany reported that West Ham had agreed a fee of around £33 to £35 million for Edison Alvarez from Ajax. Ajax have already signed a replacement in terms of Croatian defender Josep, I can't be surname now, but they've already signed a defensive midfielder today as well. So, it does seem the clearest indication that it has been agreed. Apparently, it's already again in a Mexican sports website as well. I've mentioned it, so we'll see what happens. But around 35, maybe pushing to 40 with add-ons, so that might change soon. But regardless of that, West Ham apparently is planning to make at least 6 signings in the next 25 days, despite having not signed anyone in the previous 50 odd. And that alludes to several reports that basically have put 2 and 2 together and have alluded to the article that was run on Friday in The Athletic, where they spoke about West Ham, and quite disparagingly, actually, I think, to be honest, using Transfer Room as a way to advertise the positions they're looking at. And transfer, and they're like, oh, the only Premier League side currently to do so. What they failed to realise, and what they failed to report, is that actually Arsenal will use it, Brighton use it. It's regularly used across Europe. No doubt Steinden's probably got a login for when he was at Bayer Leverkusen, and it's quite a usual way of working. But they painted a disparaging picture of West Ham, and I think only when you look inside it, that's actually quite. I think it's quite resourceful, to be honest. You know, it's the same way that Tim Steidten would use statistics to narrow down who's going to be bought. You know, it's the same principle. You know, they may get, like, I know, half a dozen players an agent might come to them with, and then that can narrow down, and then they can do the scouting and the MOT test on those players, just as, you know, because sometimes it's useful to utilize the internet. So I don't agree wholeheartedly with the outpour. People go, oh, it's just like eBay. It's not just like eBay. It's it's something which is used continually in Europe as well. But apparently that report said that West Ham were looking for a left back, a centre back, defensive midfielder, central midfielder, striker, winger, and a 10. So 7 positions. Although hopefully defensive midfielder will be sorted soon. And then the Post also suggests that for each position they're looking at a budget around £20 million, but made it clear that they were looking at the loan market as well. So 7 times 20 is 140 quid, 140 million quid. So we assume with the Skamaka money and the Vlasic money, plus he should not be named, the former captain, it's around £150 million we should have a budget for. So, no doubt we'll have to improve our conversion rate because the amount of amount of bids we put in for, and the amount of players. I mean, as I said, we're on currently, I keep a trail of all of them, and I think we're on 137 players we've been linked with, and which is beaten last season's record already, with over 3 weeks of the transfer window to go. So 6 signings. I can't see 6 signings coming in all honesty. I think if we got 4 in, doable. I think Edison's coming. If Edison comes in, then another midfielder, and I think maybe a left back replacement for Cress, a striker replacement for Skamaka. That's probably your 4, maybe. But who knows? Stranger things have happened at sea, particularly with a lot of sides holding on to their players and looking at them during pre-season. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, no, he'll go, we don't need him. Particularly when the new season starts and the squads are finalised in terms of the final 20, they're 25, and they're starting to put their squad together. So the likes of Conor Gallagher, I could see maybe going out towards the end of the window. Maybe a Martson, who we've spoken about before, both from Chelsea. Chelsea have held on to all the players. Maybe Brozier as well. That wouldn't be a triple deal I wouldn't be afraid of doing. Better than the Man United triple deal I spoke about at lunchtime today. As I said, midfielder is one of the positions. Obviously, I think Alvarez takes one of the spots, but clearly there's another spot needed for midfield. And JWP is obviously one who's been heavily linked with that second spot, so to speak. And a report has come out saying that we are due to launch another bid. How many more bids? A fresh bid for James Ward-Prowse. And apparently also Spurs are looking at him as well. So Southampton have got their wish, hopefully, and we'll have a bidding war. Apparently, according to the Evening Standard, it's stated today that Southampton are holding out for around £35 million. Originally, it was £40 million. So they've obviously dropped their valuation by £5 million. I thought we'd end up about 35, to be honest. It seems a lot of money, to be honest, but for him, but I think trouble is we're getting to a state now where I think we need new faces, we need bodies as well, which we didn't want to be in this position. We wanted to have everything sorted, but we are, and we always are. And hopefully that might change with future transfer windows, in that obviously Steinen came in at the 1st of July. So in the same way, I remember, so maybe, more forward planning maybe for the January transfer window. Who knows? We can only but hope. As you are probably aware, JWP paid in the game against Sheffield Wednesday on Friday. He was involved in everything. He had an assist. They won 2-1. They had about 900 passes as well. It was ridiculous. But according to Sky Sports reporter Florian Peltenberg, he hasn't. That's really my notes from last time. That was ignore that totally. He was the one who broke the news about about Alvarez. But as I said, apparently, according to the Evening Standard, that's better. The next Dominator drop could well be JWP. And I mean, the whole, if you had JWP and Alvarez as the first two signings, one to me clearly is Stindon, one clearly is a Moyes signing. I don't know if it's a compromise or whether it's just the way it's panned out. But yeah, apparently £35 million for the 28-year-old England international. He's, as you said before, as we said exclusively on the channel, he's very keen on the move to West Ham. And that hasn't changed since the end of last season, when I imagine he was probably approached by intermediaries about potentially joining West Ham. Ever since then, he's basically said to friends, family, that he wants the move. So, in the fact that similar to Alvarez wants to move, he's willing to cut his holiday short in order to get the medical for the move from Ajax. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens with JWP. But I have no doubt whatsoever there's going to be another 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 20 twists before we close on August the 31st. Plenty more twists coming, I guarantee it. Plenty more new names, I imagine, are going to be entering the hat, entering the frame, and we'll try and bring you them as soon as we get them. So that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time, as per usual. And yeah, make sure you keep an eye on the channel. Make sure you check out newsupmybrown.com, particularly the forum. That's very entertaining at the moment, particularly the summer transfer thread. Particularly East Village Hammer. You know what you do. He drip feeds information and just leaves it, and then just waits for everyone to go absolutely crazy on that information. A bit like X does as well, I suppose, in his Patreon. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay up, keep the faith, my friends. Come on, you bloody irons, and hopefully we'll get some signings very soon. Bye-bye.